1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back to Country and Cold Cans. I'm Logan, sitting here with Kyle and Andy, sitting in his truck somewhere. Where you at, Andy?
Ohio.
What part of Ohio?
Western. I'm on the Indiana line.
Oh, okay.
I could throw a rock into Indiana, and I can't throw a rock very far.
All right. Well, let's jump right into things. So, it's obviously with the pandemic going on, COVID-19 is unavoidable for all of us. We got to give a shout out right now to Dolly Parton. The woman is a national treasure because she donated, I think it was like $1 million to Moderna for research for a vaccine that is in the final stages of its vaccine trials, and it's been proven to be like 95% effective. So hats off to Dolly Parton.
Yeah, hats off. I don't support the monarchy, but if America was to ever have a queen, I would vote for her.
Yeah, I don't think too many people will be upset about that. So, but like I said, the woman is a national treasure. Everybody loves Dolly. Okay, in that same vein, talking about COVID-19, we've recently, we had been talking about how a lot of artists are speaking out saying that it's time now to start booking some concerts again because of the hypocrisy of the media, which I tend to agree with, on how they treat different people based on what their reasoning for gathering is. And that brings us to the topic of right now with Live Nation and Ticketmaster, who really has almost a monopoly on like the major concerts, major sporting events, things like that, where they are talking about the possible new protocols they're going to be putting in once the vaccine is distributed, where you're going to have a system through, I believe it's going to be through the Ticketmaster app to verify whether or not you've been vaccinated or have tested negative within like a 24 to 72 hour window of the concert. They say that it's going to not be violating any HIPAA or having any HIPAA violations because they're not going to have or keep records of your medical records, but it's going to be an encrypted way of just saying whether or not you are clear to be able to enter the facility. There's lots of problems with this. It can be problematic. Like, it's a private company, so sure, they get to set their own rules, but I don't know how I feel about this. What do you guys think?
I don't like it.
Yeah. So as someone who does a lot of IT work as his day job, never, ever, ever trust anyone but yourself with your personal information. I don't believe them when they say it'll be encrypted and we don't store data. They'll store data. They'll store data because they want to, have targeted ads and whatever they want. I think it's probably illegal.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it struck down. I mean, I know, like you said, you never trust people with your very personal, sensitive information because it's like I saw an episode of Joe Rogan recently. He was talking to the guy that made the movie The Social Dilemma. It's like every time Apple comes out with, a new update to the iOS system, whatever it's called, and it's saying they fixed some bugs. That's just code for, hey, we've been hacked and we need to be able to have more security for your information. So you can't trust anyone when it comes to that crap. And I don't like this idea because it's like it's like almost like a national registry, even though it's not technically a government thing. It's a private company of people who have had their vaccination or people who are at the time not positive. And it's like almost like, show me your papers, see if you have your vaccine. Like, it's not, it's just very Big Brother to me. I'm not, I get maybe it's well intentioned. I don't know. I don't want to ascribe, what Ticketmaster and Live Nation are doing, but at the same time, it feels very Big Brother and very invasive. Like, I don't want to be on a list of whether or not I've been vaccinated. That's none of their freaking business.
I mean, it's not like the government's not going to get their hands on that list eventually. That like the government threw a temper tantrum over Apple's security thing and took them to court and all that stuff. Or was that Facebook? It was either Apple or Facebook. It was Apple. Yeah. It's not like if they're going to do that, what's going to stop them from telling Ticketmaster, hey, you're going to give us this list?
Yeah, having like a court subpoena to be able to get a list of people who have been vaccinated by way of Ticketmaster / Live Nation. Like, that's just too invasive for my taste. Last I checked, this was America.
Amen. So I mean, like, it's the same. Like, when I remember a few months ago when people were like, "Well, why can't we just be like South Korea?" Well, South Korea essentially, not to get too far down a political rabbit hole, but they essentially like dox their own citizens. With an app to contact trace.
Yeah.
And, right, left, center, American congresspeople were like, we're not touching that. So,
yeah. And trust me, if there's any power hungry people out there, it's those seeking elected office, and they're taking every chance they can to have more authoritarian inclinations and seize power over this stuff. So like we need to keep this stuff out of their hands, in my view.
I agree.
I don't trust people, man. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin taught me at a young age watching WWF Monday Night Raw. DTA, son, don't trust anybody.
Amen.
So, but speaking of, on that same vein of COVID-19, some other news within the kinda country music world is there were some rumors. It appears not to be so, much to the chagrin of a lot of the independent fans, but there was a lot of rumors of Florida Georgia Line possibly having a rift between the two, due to the election / COVID-19 response, because Tyler Hubbard, who represents Georgia and Florida Georgia Line, and Brian Kelly.
The long hair or the short hair?
So you know them via 2012. That's changed a couple times by now, but 2012 versions of them, short hair is Florida Brian Kelly, and long hair is Georgia Tyler Hubbard. So
okay,
yeah.
Which one is the one that can actually sing?
That's Georgia Tyler Hubbard.
Okay.
Yeah. So Georgia Tyler Hubbard and his wife unfollowed. We're going to get a little gossipy here on Country and Cold Cans. But Georgia Tyler Hubbard unfollowed, and his wife unfollowed Florida Brian Kelly and Florida Brian Kelly's wife. So Georgia Tyler Hubbard is a guy that has voiced support for a lot more left-leaning causes, and has signaled his support for Biden and other, more progressive things. Then on the flip side, you have Florida Brian Kelly and his wife, who, when Biden supporters gathered outside the White House with no social distancing whatsoever to celebrate the projection of President-elect Biden, they were talking about how this was, you can see the media hypocrisy, and that, it's time to start booking concerts. And Florida Brian Kelly has been a lot more quieter on a lot of the political stuff, which, if you're in the public eye, everybody knows if you're quiet, you tend to lean a little bit right / conservative. So we kind of have a rift within the Florida Georgia Line franchise based on political and COVID-19 grounds. And and to be fair, we've updated the story since then. Georgia Tyler Hubbard has refollowed the Kellys from Florida. But a lot of people were questioning, hey, could 2020 bring the split of one of the most notorious bro country acts of the last 10 years?
That's juicy.
Yeah. It's leave it up to social media and people sitting at home to find all this stuff out, and people start writing articles on it. I found it all a bit hilarious and a bit, like, for lack of a better term, catty, but to unfollow each other because of stuff like the way I say it, I'm going to put it bluntly. If you can't be friends with someone with whom you disagree politically, you're a clown. Like, I have friends that disagree with me. I mean, it's cool. Yeah.
But you can't stop being friends with someone when they know as much about Florida Georgia Line as you do.
Well, Andy, it's kind of our role here to know what's going on within the country music sphere, and me as the lead mic on Country and Cold Cans to be able to deliver the story accurately. So I did my research. So
Carter would disagree.
Carter would disagree with everything, because Carter's a freaking communist with his trash opinions about Five Guys last episode. But
this is true.
And Carter is, for all the listeners out there, if you remember Classic Rock Carter and his long stories he had about some events he was doing. Carter's an animal, man. Let me tell you, he's an animal. But yeah, so there's our Country and Cold Cans gossip corner for this week. The Florida Georgia Line feud. But everything seems to be patched up between the two, much so they'll keep making their shitty music. Next topic. We kind of just wanted to, before we get into our main anchor topic today, which is music-based, we wanted to kind of talk about something we all like. And it's, this whole podcast, Andy and I started on the premise of two things. We love country music and we love cold beer. So if you couldn't tell by the name, Country and Cold Cans. So we haven't really talked a whole lot about beer, especially since the second episode. So today's topic is cold beer. What is your favorite cold beer, Trucker Andy?
This is the easy question. And then I'd actually forgot until I just realized what it is again. And that is the good old classic Red Solo cup full of Busch Light in a keg out of a trash can.
That was some the best keg beer we ever had when we were in college. Was at a couple of our friends' house. They lived on a golf course at the time. They invited us over, and it was the coldest, crispest beer. And you know what? It was the second best beer. It was cold beer, but the first best beer is free beer. We all know that. But
This is true. Yes.
yeah, but yeah, that was damn good beer, Andy. I agree. What about you, Kyle?
So I had to qualify this topic. If we're going to a tailgate, you cannot go wrong with the classic Miller Lite.
Boo.
Now, if I
You can.
You went wrong the moment you decided to swipe your card when they said, "Hey, are you sure you want this?"
No. Now,
Miller Lite is piss in a can.
This is coming from the guy who just said his favorite beer is Busch Light in a trash can.
I said it, not me. I mean, I said it, not Andy.
I said
that's
it.
what I'm saying.
I said it, not me.
So,
No, Andy said his favorite beer was Busch Light in a trash can. I said it was good. It ain't my favorite. I'm a little bit bougier than you two.
I said I had to qualify this. Now, if we're going to if I'm trying to.
This is a good discussion. I think Andy needs to kind of dive into that too after you, because there is a difference between tailgate beer and just regular beer.
Right. I mean, we're not going to. I'm not going to bring my favorite beer of all time, which I don't even believe they make anymore, which deeply saddens me, which is a Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA.
Okay. So I'm not the only bougie pinkies out person.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a beer snob that you see at a brewery that everyone hates when they see there. Like, oh, do you have a so-and-so IPA? Yeah, that guy. That's what I'm going to sound like. But they don't. I haven't seen it in a while. But that is my personal favorite beer. Now, a casual drinking beer, it's got to be the Miller Lite.
Look, that's fair. I've had my fair share of Miller Lite. I'm just not a fan. It has a really weird aftertaste.
I can say one thing about Miller Lite is it was better when they had the blue bottles. When they went to the white old school can, I swear they changed it.
I didn't drink beer back then, so I can't speak to the blue cans. I do think that now, Andy, you remember when they went to the old cans. The new cans are now, or the old cans, if that gets confusing. But when they went to the new old cans, you and I were a part of a marketing scheme. We went and we were like, this looks sick. We're going to look at this retro look. We went and bought a case of it and got sick from it because that was the nastiest beer I've ever had. Next to a Bud Light in a can. That's just disgusting.
Sometimes I do wish that I had with NC State with you too. So.
Well, you had the opportunity, but you chose to go to Greenville for whatever reason.
Yeah. Sometimes I do miss adventures you two went on.
Yeah, it was a fun time when we were 19 to about 21, 22 years old.
We were 21 when that happened.
Now I'm at the point where I went to the driving range to hit some golf balls on Sunday with our buddy Will, and I hit balls for about an hour and a half, and I'm sore as all get out. All over just from swinging a golf club.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm sore as all get out, and I've been painting a house. So, yeah.
It ain't as easy as it used to be active.
No,
but
not at all.
So Andy, what about you? The difference in tailgate beer and just any beer? Do you have a difference, or is it still just Busch Light out of a damn trash can?
Mine's it's not gonna get any better. It's not getting better. But tailgate, I'm gonna have to go. It's got to be in a can because you can't play beer ball with anything that's not in a can.
True enough. Beer ball's a necessity to tailgate.
I'm gonna have to go with. It's got to be a 12-ounce can because if you go with a taller 16-ounce can or anything other than a 12, you're going to lose beer ball. This is all strictly based on beer ball. I'm going to have to go with Natural Light.
Financial Light?
Because you got to have the short can, too. You can't have a Michelob Ultra. It's taller can, easier to hit.
Yeah. And also,
it's all about beer ball.
You have to buy a special damn koozie for a Mick Ultra. That's annoying.
Can I go on a small Carter rant here?
Sure.
When I see a man drinking Mick Ultra.
Not on a golf course.
Not on a golf course.
Yeah, golf course, you get a pass.
Exclude golf courses. If I see you go to a restaurant and you order a Mick Ultra, I'm going to be like, all right, you're one of two people. You're either someone who is wealthy or you're someone who is pretending to be wealthy.
Yeah, there's a third person. There's a third.
Drew's
name's Drew Bennett.
Drew Bennett?
Yeah. Sure.
I was thinking the same thing, Andy.
Yeah,
Our
they're
buddy,
like,
so
"Oh,
for,
this is
for reference, our buddy Drew used to be the wildest cat in the group. He's been in a relationship 5 years, got married this past summer, and now he's I mean, look, as he should. He grew up. He's a responsible married man now. But now it's Mick Ultra and White Claws for that cat.
oh man, what a downhill slide."
Yeah. All right. So for me, I've got to say, I got to agree with you. There's a difference in tailgate versus just like going, sitting down, hanging out with some friends. A tailgate, this is relatively new for me, but the New Belgium Old Tuffy is
Okay.
probably my favorite tailgate beer. It's just a nice, like, classic lager. It's nothing fancy. It's just like NC. It has the NC State logo, Tuffy, on the can. It was specifically marketed towards North Carolina State fans and everything. They sell it at the stadium at Carter Finley. It's nothing special, nothing bad. It's just like NC State football. It tastes like 7 and 5. So so that one's a great one that I love for like, you know, concerts and tailgates and just hanging out on the back porch with friends. My absolute favorite beer in the whole world, though, and this is very, very specific to one spot here in Cary, North Carolina, at a brewery called Bond Brothers, is an India Pale Ale, you know, IPA, as Kyle said, and it is called The Local. And those are some fantastic, fantastic beers. Andy is used to call them magic beers.
They're magic.
Well, why don't you tell us why you call them magic beers? You refused to drink them at first.
Oh, because at first I could not stand the way they taste, and then
Andy-
I found out that
Andy
you
used to
drink
think
three of
Andy
them
used to think he was too much of a man drinking IPA until he had 2 of them.
after you had about 2 of them. That seat you're sitting in there at the brewery. It's not a bar; it's a brewery. That seat starts to float a little bit after you had 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean,
You had about 3 or 4. That seat starts to take you on a rocket ship to the moon.
Andy, I should have got you to try one of those Dogfish Head 120-minute IPAs. I believe they're like somewhere in the frame of like 12.5 to 14%.
I think I have had one before.
what are they? A triple IPA?
Yes.
So that reminds me of like another local place in Raleigh, Trophy. Trophy has the Cloud Surfer. I believe is a double IPA. It's pretty good.
I'm actually drinking a double IPA right now.
Are you? Oh, Kyle's just running down IPAs and he's drinking IPAs. I mean, damn, Kyle.
I thought that was a Fanta.
No, it's a New Belgium higher plane. Actually, it's an Imperial. I'm sorry. But close
That means
enough.
double.
Yeah. Well, if we get less specific to a specific brewery in a tiny little, or not a tiny, but a smaller town on the outskirts of Raleigh, I also am a big fan of the Wicked Weed Pernicious. That's a fantastic IPA. The Foothills Brewing, I believe, out of Winston-Salem, they have a good one called the Hopium. They sell those at hockey games, and I tell you what, they're you might as well just spend the extra $1 or $2 for those versus it's like $10 for a Bud Light or $11 or $12 for a Hopium. Yeah, get your money's worth by the Hopium at PNC.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your money on those freaking Bud Lights if you're going to have 1 or 2 of them at a hockey game.
No.
I've had to leave those magic beers behind. They're magic, but they also kill me. I just
I'm telling you,
the pain
the hangovers with an IPA can happen when you have like 3, and that's
Yes,
the thing.
of course,
You won't even
100%.
be drunk for you to have a hangover. It's just something about the way they brew it. It's heavy, and it's just like your head will be hurting. You'll be like, I thought I only had 2 or 3 beers.
Pretty sure it's the grapefruit or whatever it is in it.
Yeah, like the citrusy kind of stuff.
Shout out to Old Tuffy because it's a solid beer.
It is.
And it also, me and you a few months ago had quite a few of them one night, and I didn't have a hangover the next day. So,
Was that at
Old
Chase's wedding?
No, this was actually when I was at the conference up in
Oh yeah,
where you
yeah,
stay.
that's
Yeah,
right.
me and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had quite a few of the Toughies, and didn't have a hangover. So
Yeah, Old Tuffy's a solid beer, man. You can't go
It is,
wrong with an Old Tuffy. It's not, like I said, it's nothing fancy. It's a little bit pricier than a domestic light and cold, a la Dirk Bentley kind of beer. But it's, I mean, because New Belgium makes it. I mean, they're a microbrewer. So, I mean,
Belgium?
yeah. Hey, look, New Belgium makes solid stuff. Like, and people who are not beer drinkers don't understand that a beer needs to set the vibe of whatever situation you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to pick accordingly based on that. Now, Andy over here has abandoned his culture and his evolution that he had, and has devolved back into just a Coors Light in a bottle regardless of the situation now.
Hardcore capitalism.
He's just gone back to 19, 20-year-old Andy.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But look, like I said, it has to be, what are the best type of beers before we move on? Everybody named, like, not brands, but best situations for a beer.
Best situations for a beer.
Shower.
I was waiting for someone to say the shower beer.
Weddings.
Toilets.
Toilets.
Wait a minute, toilet. Oh, sitting on the toilet. I was like,
yeah, sitting on.
Yeah.
When you get home from work after a long, hard day.
When you wake up for work.
The drive to where I'm just playing.
And cutting grass beer.
The best beer I gotta say is probably the one that comes after the second.
Third beer, you get that little 3 beer lift.
Yeah.
I've never been, like, judge me if you want, I don't care. I've never been the one that likes to drink beer after work. I don't come home and drink every day. I don't enjoy it. I don't.
No.
Yeah, like we have friends that do, and like they're just like, I look forward to just coming home, sitting in my chair, and having an IPA or 3 or a Miller Lite or 3, and I'm just like, I don't enjoy that. I don't like drinking all the time. Like, it's once in a while for me. Like, I have a standing time at the week with a bunch of our boys. We go, a bunch of guys from college and everything. We all go to Bond Brothers, but outside of that, I really don't drink hardly at all.
Yeah, I will say this: when you get to the point that you're a homeowner on a nice little plot,
yeah,
the yard working beer is a phenomenal beer.
Yeah, see, I live in a townhome, so I ain't got to worry about no yard.
Right, so you're raking the leaves, you're cutting the grass, you're weed eating. You go up to the lawnmower, you're cutting grass, you sip your beer while you're driving your lawnmower. Phenomenal beer.
What if you get dirt and grass in your beer?
No, it's got the little chute on the side where, all my grass is getting blown away from my beer.
Fair enough. Like I said, I live in a townhome, so I don't have the ability to cut grass and enjoy it. If I just come home and drink every day, I'm just a drunk, and I ain't a drunk. So
those work beers can get a little dangerous, though. Like on that, when you
drive a truck, of course your work beers will be dangerous.
Not that kind of work. The other kind of work when you're doing mechanicals type work. Is that it depends on how long it takes. If you're out there for 4 hours and you start when you get first start, you start drinking when you start working. About the third hour is when productivity quits entirely.
Isn't that what you used to do when you did paperwork?
Yes.
You got a 6-pack of Voodoo Ranger IPAs?
Yeah, it took a while to do paperwork because especially paperwork, because it's easy to drink when you do that.
Those Voodoo Ranger IPAs are strong too.
You kind of quit after a while because you get kind of drunk.
I think that's Andy's way of just saying, I don't like doing paperwork, so I'm going to drink beer instead.
I used to go to the bar before I would go do paperwork, and then I get back from the bar and not do paperwork and say the same thing on Saturday night that I did Friday night, and it still didn't happen.
I got to say, probably my favorite beer is a tailgate beer because there's something about, middle of the fall, NC State's playing, you're tailgating or somebody else. It ain't got to be NC State. I realize everybody pulls for other teams. Kyle pulls for a group of five high school team. So, like you're at a tailgate, you have a couple of cold beers, play a little beer ball, going to enjoy the game. It's just a good American pastime.
There is a big asterisk marks on that one though. What time's the game?
Oh, that's true. That
7 a.m. beer is definitely not the best beer.
Well, Andy, nobody has 7 a.m. beers once you get out of college. That's just crazy talk.
Now, that 7 a.m. rally beer where you're still quasi drunk in college, oof, I don't miss those.
When you'd go out downtown till closing time and then you get up 5 hours later to get to a tailgate at 7?
Yeah, you haven't quite sobered up yet, and let's just keep the rally going.
Andy, didn't you do that outside of a Hardee's one time in college? Like you chugged a beer on the back of your old 01 Ford pickup you had while I was picking up chicken inside? Yep,
and that was also after the at that time point, I was also doing shots of Jack Daniels before we went to the game too.
That's never fun. Shots.
That That was an
Shots are-
upgrade from
Shots are
Canadian Hunter.
canceled. It's 2020. Shots are canceled.
Yeah. Ugh.
If we're canceling all this other shit, let's cancel shots.
Yes.
Let's cancel Canadian Hunter entirely.
Oh yeah, like when Nathan dropped that shit off at our house that time, that was disgusting. I think I had one drink of it and I was like, y'all can have this.
I don't understand how they're in business.
I don't either. It's terrible. But and one more other beer that's great before we can move on to our next topic that Kyle brought up, and it's a hell of a topic. Is when you're on a boys trip beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like when we were in Nashville, Andy, when we were in
Yeah.
Austin, Kyle, like going into those little dingy dive bars on Dirty Six. There are all the places on Lower Broadway in Nashville, Andy, having some of those beer specials. Like I remember we were drinking, what was it, Pearl in a can for what was it, like $1.50, $2, something stupid. I mean, it was just like those are good ones.
As I said earlier today, when someone mentioned that, it ain't nothing but a plane ticket and liver damage away.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. When one of our friends sent us a reminder snap about 2 years ago, at this time we were in Nashville, Tennessee. That was one fun weekend. We like one quick story about that. We literally had a quick flight direct from Raleigh to Nashville via Southwest. We got there so early because Nashville is an hour behind the East Coast. We got there so early that we were there at like 8 a.m. or something like that. Andy had just gotten into town, parked his truck. We took an Uber to the truck stop because we couldn't even check into our hotel. We were there so early. So we threw our luggage in Andy's truck at the truck stop. And then we took an Uber to Lower Broadway, and it was 10 a.m. The lunch spots hadn't even opened yet. So what did we do?
Couldn't find anything to eat.
We couldn't. So we just went into John Rich's beer, and we were like, well, give me a whiskey.
They had whiskey.
Went in Nashville. So, but yeah, I guess that's enough degenerate talk. Let's move into the next topic. On this one, like I said, Kyle brought this up, and Kyle, if you want to kind of explain this one for the listeners, so we can kind of get into this.
Yeah, so I kind of got a similar topic off of another podcast, but the gist of this topic is: let's say you are stranded on a desert island or anywhere, and you have an iPod and it has 5 songs on it. What are those 5 songs you're going to listen to? It's all you get until you get rescued.
If you get rescued. So keep in mind, these 5 songs have to have some meaning, because these might be the last 5 things of entertainment outside of just your hallucinations from going crazy, being stuck on an island. So
Talking to your volleyball.
you're talking to your volleyball, Wilson. So Andy, Kyle, it's your topic. You kick it off, man.
All right, so the song that starts my list is actually Lessons Learned by Tracy Lawrence.
Okay.
To be honest, it's just a song that I think describes my life. If you don't learn the hard way, you don't learn at all. So
Kyle's like every white girl at a bar. This song's about me.
yeah, man, it is, though. I mean, hey, as my granddad told me growing up, you're gonna be stupid, you got to be tough. And, I mean, I learned every lesson the hard way. So.
So, Andy, if you want to go to your first song, what is it?
Mine is going to be the Gilligan's Island theme song for obvious reasons. Paints a perfect picture of what's going on. And I also thought, too, is that my 5 songs, I don't want it to be probably even like 5 of my favorite, like top 5 songs I really love. Because after I listen to them all day on a desert island until I get off, I am never going to want to hear those songs again.
So you pick. So what's the theme of your 5 picks?
Being stranded on a desert island.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you went on the nose, and you're going to be reminded every day that you're stranded on a desert island by your entertainment.
Pretty much.
Andy's like, I didn't think this.
Wait, but they're hopeful songs though about getting off of a desert island.
Okay.
That's the topic at hand.
Okay. So for me, I'll give my 5 moods that I picked, and then I'll give my first one, and then we'll kick it back over to Kyle. So I went with a theme also. My theme was a song that can fit a lot of the moods that you'll have on a desert island. I've got one that's a bummer jam, because sad songs make me happy, and you're gonna feel a little down while you're on the island. So I picked one for that. Then I picked one that I love narrative songs. I love story songs that are just well written. It's just a jam. So I picked one for that because that's just entertaining and it paints a story for you. So it kind of gives you, it's almost like listening to a radio show, but condensed into 3 minutes. Then I picked a summer wistful kind of summer love song as the sunset's going down. I'm sitting on the beach, stranded by myself. It kind of takes me to another place that's a little more happy. Then I picked a classic rock song that is my favorite song by this band, and it's kind of like a screw you, man. She ain't leaving me for you. She's staying with me. And then I picked just a straight up banger because sometimes you just want to party. And
what's a party going to be like on an island by yourself?
I don't know. I mean, that's what you make it, right? So the first one I'll talk about is the Bummer Jam song because it's my favorite song in all of music, but it's Hurricane by American Aquarium. I mean, there might be a hurricane while I'm on there. It might be the only song I listen to if that happens, but Hurricane by American Aquarium, it's a Bummer Jam. It talks about, his relationship with this woman who, he thought that she'd be like the rest and, would burn out, but she kind of stole his heart when she dropped out of that black dress is what he said. Then he's like, and then at the very end, he's like, I didn't get her. Hell, that's for sure. Stung me like a hornet's nest, but I can't wait to get back to Carolina, which I'm from North Carolina, because I can lay those storms to rest. And there's a lot of wordplay that fits with being on a desert island. Well, if I get rescued and get back to North Carolina, I can lay those storms of the island to rest, and I'm back home in Carolina. So Hurricane by American Aquarium was my first pick. All right, second round, Kyle Akery, you're on the clock.
So I don't know how much of our audience will be familiar with this band. It's actually, I believe it's the singer. Actually, I believe it's the entire band minus the singer from Creed. It's called Alter Bridge. The singer from Creed
you picked a 75% Creed song.
It is. Now, the singer from Creed, I don't know how many people are familiar with like 2000s rock.
Miles Kennedy, is that his name?
The singer from Creed is, he's a shit show. I mean, let's just put it that way. It's a band called Alter Bridge, and it's called Blackbird. And this is my get up and go jam. When you're
that's a pretty dark get up and go jam.
Man, the breakdown of that song is phenomenal. The drum solo.
That is a great song.
It is.
That's a solid pick.
Yes, it's the get up and go jam. When
that guy can sing too.
He absolutely can. I don't know what band he's from or where they found him, but it's essentially Creed minus the singer.
And the guy's name's Miles Kennedy, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That's a solid pick.
That was a solid pick. I got to give you credit. When you almost lost me when you said Creed, but then you totally redeemed yourself.
No, it is Creed minus the singer.
Yeah.
So do you know the band, Logan?
I've heard the band. I don't really know them.
Edge's theme song from wrestling.
Yeah.
But my second pick is going to be we're going to go with "Message in a Bottle" by the Police. Because I want it's topic of you're going to send that message and hope she finds your message in a bottle so you can get off the island. But that's also I want to put a classic rock song in there, and that's a nice, easy listening classic rock song. It's classic. So then I'm all uphill from here because that's the most of the theme that wasn't as great there. So Logan.
All right, so for me, I'm gonna go with the narrative portion of my 5 themes. Like I said, it's kind of acts as almost like a mini story, a mini radio, a mini podcast, whatever you want to say, condensed in 3.5 minutes. And it's one of the best story songs I think is written by a independent Red Dirt, Texas, Oklahoma artist in this case. But that is "Good Lord Lori" by Turnpike Troubadours. From the elongated drum roll at the beginning, you know exactly what song it is. Then it has one of the best opening lines I've ever seen. When Lori lit a cigarette, smiled and waved the smoke out of her face. I mean, that's just a killer opening line, and just the story of how his and Lori's love kind of just fell apart by the end. It paints a great picture. And if I want a story song to listen to, "Good Lord Lori" is definitely going to be the one. All right, Kyle.
So my number 3 on the list is reminds me of my boys, hanging out. This is mainly me and D-Berry. And I remember we made my fiance furious one night because we just demanded that she play this song in the car when she took us to the bar.
Yeah.
It's "Midnight in Montgomery." By Alan Jackson. It's a phenomenal song through and through. It's just remind me of the good old days,
Bailey
Yeah,
had some of that
yes.
2000s pop shit playing, and we were just like,
Yeah.
play some Alan Jackson.
Yeah, Midnight Montgomery.
He was like, what, Chattahoochee? No, Midnight Montgomery.
That is a
Yeah.
great song.
It is
It
a
is
great
a,
song.
it is a great song, yeah.
I have a serious question about this song that has never made sense to me. If he's on his way to Mobile for a New Year's Eve show and he's in Montgomery at midnight, what time is this show he's playing in Mobile? 3 a.m.?
Well, I mean, it could be the next day.
It could be, yeah. I mean, technically, New Year's is still the New Year's Day.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
All right, my next one's going to be Send a Boat by Chris Knight, because it's one of my favorite songs of his that he's done. And the figuratively and literally Send a Boat. You know, it's the song about, you know, basically tough times and you're just trying to stay afloat. And if you would, Lord, send a boat, literally and figuratively.
So that's actually a really good pick for if you're straight
That's
on
one
desert
of his most underrated songs. In
I
my
agree with
opinion.
that. I agree
It's
with
such a hard bummer jam, but it's also, well, it's not really even that hopeful. But
All right, so for my next one, I went with, like I said, you got to have one for all moods of being on an island. So when you're sitting there by yourself, sun's going down, you kind of want to be taken away to another place in life. Kind of, it's more of an escapist song. Kind of fits this artist a lot. And you know what? If anybody's listening and says they don't like this guy, piss off. I don't care. I like this song a lot. It's Anything But Mine by Kenny Chesney. From the wistful kind of summer feel of like the opening electric guitar. I mean, it's a song about summer love and how in the morning she's leaving. I'm going back to Cleveland. You know, literally, it's just a good summer love song. And you know what? It was also filmed at Family King. Part of it was filmed at Family Kingdom in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where I've spent a lot of time. So that's a great summer song. And as the sun's going down and you're sitting there, you want to kind of escape to another place. You know, Anything But Mine by Kenny Chesney will do the trick. So, Kyle?
So I hope that my fiance doesn't listen to this podcast, but
She probably doesn't.
yeah, she probably doesn't. But this song was D-Berry, don't take offense because I know you're friends. This song happened a few times that I could personally relate to. It's Eric Church's Two Pink Lines. Man, it's probably one of my favorite Eric Church songs.
No wonder you were pushing that one so hard on the Eric Church show we did.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, dude, it's such a great song. It's one of my favorites by Eric. So
You're gonna know real fast if Bailey listens to this.
yeah, I'm gonna get a text like as soon as you publish this episode that she can
it's
be
like Marshall and Lily. No, it was another girl.
don't you dare talk about me on the podcast. You know, so but that is that's got to be my number two. You know, in high school, you know, a little bit of accidents, you know, a little bit of scares, but we came through it on the other side.
How's it go? One means we're home free, but two means three and a diamond ring.
Absolutely. And she still got a diamond ring, but
Yeah, it ain't quite three.
it ain't quite three. So,
oh man, that's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie. And
That's a solid song too.
yeah, it is.
it's a great song.
This is a solid iPod here. My what are we on? 4. My 4th song, I'm gonna have to go with a Tom Petty because you really want to be stuck on an island without any Tom Petty songs. But I'm gonna go with Learning to Fly and Hope It Actually Works. But Learning to Fly, I learned how to play the little rhythm on the guitar about that and the song because it was the easiest song to learn to play because I'm not very good at guitar. But that's one of my favorite Tom Petty songs, you know, with basically the Learning to Fly of every song ever called Learning to Fly is almost all the same. But I'm going to pick that one from Tom Petty to go with this one and hope it works, Logan.
So in the Tom Petty vein, my next one is actually a Tom Petty and the Heartbreaker song. Like I said, I went with a classic rock song. I went with a song that is my favorite Tom Petty and the Heartbreaker song of all time. One that I jam out to. I love to start this one off whenever I play an open mic. You start off with a little Tom Petty. All the old guys love it. And it's mainly just a bunch of old dudes in there playing, you know, classic rock songs and John Prine. So I went with Listen to Her Heart by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. That's one, like I said, it's a song about this guy telling this other guy basically to F off because his lady ain't leaving him for him, no matter how good his cocaine is. So for me, like I said, I'm sticking with the Tom Petty theme Andy set forth there. It's going to be Listen to Her Heart by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Kyle?
So my final song, and the song that really turned me on to American Aquarium when I went to that show with you guys.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Where was that at?
That was at Lincoln Theater in Raleigh.
Lincoln Theater, yeah.
Yep.
Phenomenal show. It's actually Lose Inside of 25.
Fantastic song.
Yeah.
And now it hits harder now than it did back then.
Yeah, I just crossed that threshold of 26. So yeah, they have a lot of great songs, but that one was just I was like, damn, damn, I'm on the losing side of 25 now,
And only BJ Barnum can find a way to work in a reference to a food line, and it works.
That song really, I was like, man, every time it comes on my playlist on Spotify, I'm like, I'm hyped when it comes on, but I'm like, at the same time, I'm like,
this is
damn,
me.
I really am on the losing side of 25 now,
That opening lines hit me so hard now because with most of our friends being married and everything, all my friends are growing up changing pretty girls' last names. And then I'm finding my way rolling down this highway playing a much younger man's game. Like that. It really, when you're I'm on the verge of 27, Kyle. You just crossed into 26. I'm on the verge of 27, and I'm there. I'm on the losing side of 25.
The song really shouldn't speak to me because I'm not that guy. I've dated the same girl for going on 11 years. We've been engaged for a while. We were going to get married, and the COVID stuff happened, but we're still getting married. But
he was like, we were going to get married, but then
we're still getting married.
I think we just might stay engaged.
Yeah, we're just going to stay engaged for a while. I was like, but the song really doesn't really apply to me, but it still kind of does. It still kind of scratches that itch, if you will.
Oh yeah, because until you're married, you really ain't completely crossed over,
Right? Yeah. So that's my final song.
All right, Andy.
That's a very solid.
Very solid pick. I didn't even think about that, but that's
a good genre mix and everything on there. That's solid. My last one, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna have to go with a Gary Allan song here. It's tough to pick a Gary Allan song because he has so many great songs. But I was gonna go with "Sand in My Soul" because it was actually one of the first Gary Allan songs that I really got into. That was the time period I got into Gary Allan. But that fits the theme of all the other songs because instead of sitting in room, I think it's 308, letting your hair grow, you're going to be letting your hair grow on a desert island with literal sand in your soul. So, Logan, what's your last one?
So, like I said, the fifth theme for me was by the time I start going crazy, on Castaway with Tom Hanks, and I start talking to a volleyball named Wilson, I'm going to want to party a little bit. So I picked, as one of our friends so astutely called it when we were in Virginia Beach, and Co Wetzel, we were seeing his concert. He turned after this song and said, "It's a freaking banger, man." This song's a straight up banger. And that song is Forever by Co Wetzel. Just from the opening to the end, that song is just a straight up banger. That thing slaps. So, and it tells a little bit of a story too. In whatever way Co Wetzel normally does. So I'm definitely, if I want to party, Forever by Co Wetzel is going to be the one. So when I'm talking to a volleyball on a desert island, that's the song I'm going to pick to party.
That's a solid pick.
Yeah. So
these are all pretty solid iPods.
I think so too. You can't really go wrong with either of them, any of them. So, but I think that wraps up this episode of Country and Cold Cans. For Andy and Kyle, I'm Logan, and we will see you next time.